CMarkits. Good morning, Youssef, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, Alexandra. Thanks a lot for having me.
So, Youssef, we have many topics to discuss. First of all, I'd like to kick off with what's driving the price action, what we're seeing from the crude oil price, specifically the Brent, testing the $70 per barrel is incredible.
That's, I would say, it's a natural response. About a couple of weeks ago, we predicted that due to the current market situation, that the Brent will touch $70 at some point in May. And that is mainly due to planned opening up of economic activities, especially returning of international travel and international flying activities. Of course, in the UK, 17th of May was the date on resuming international flights. Also in the US, also planned the opening up of economic activities in Europe. So this is, I would say, a natural response to a return of pre-pandemic travel activities. Yet, of course, there's still, I would say, the market, yes, there is some demand recovery. Optimism was driving the price, but there's also major concerns that continue to exist in the market, and that is mainly the Indian situation, the new variant, which is adding a major uncertainty into if this ease of lockdown activities in Europe or in the US will continue throughout the summer. Today we've heard a statement from Boris Johnson about the Indian variant, and he said that it's adding a major uncertainty. There is currently something like 2,000 cases already confirmed of the Indian variants in the UK, with at least 2 cities in the UK that are dominated by that kind of variant. Of course, here we can also speak about other countries who are falling behind their vaccination rate. Also, adding to the other concern in the market is actually the inflation bubble. We also continue to see a kind of major increase in gold prices and a major decline in the US dollar index, and that is a clear signal into how the inflation is actually weighing actually on the price level that we're seeing on the Brent and WTI.
Yes, this is for sure. Today we also saw something extremely interesting from the IEA. I'm just trying to show their tweet very quickly. Of course, they said something extremely interesting in regards to the targets of to net zero emissions targets of the different governments. They basically said that investments in new fossil fuel supply projects must immediately cease if the world's going to slash net carbon emissions to zero by 2050. The International Energy said. The Paris-based energy watchdog also said in a report that hitting the net zero target would require a rapid acceleration of wind and solar capacity and a hold in sales of combustion engine cars by 2035. So first of all, they even said, if we go further, just to delve deeper into the report, they said that the government's targets are not even feasible. Do you agree with that?
I would think it's a very hard target. It requires major investments in the technologies that the IEA is basing its scenarios on: electric vehicles, phasing out of coal power plant, and replacing, also integrating carbon capture into the current energy mix, especially the electricity sector. Also increasing the share of renewables to at least 60% by 2050. So I think here there is there could be a burden on the global economy, and that is what carbon price will the world agree on. Also assumes that a major decline in the prices of renewables in order to make them competitive with the fossil fuels. So I would say it's a very ambitious target, but it's certainly not impossible to achieve. Yet here, there's one thing I want to highlight is when they said we don't need to drill for any more oil and gas oil fields, it means that the current fields will have enough resources to meet growing demand of hydrocarbons until 2050. And that there is a major assumption here is that the oil demand will peak by 2035 and 2040. That will somehow agree with scenarios already projected by OPEC, and it also agrees with a previous report published by BP a couple of months ago, who predicted that the global share of oil and gas in the global energy mix will be around 25 million barrels by 2050 if the world is going to achieve the Paris targets. Yet I don't think it's going to be bad news for the oil markets. In fact, because if the world is not going to search for new oil and gas fields, it means that there could be a shortage in supplies that could also be increased prices within the short term, but it also means that there could be a decline in demand with less supply. So I think I don't think it would have a major impact on the price within the next 15 years.
All right, this is very important because, of course, also the company goals are, you just mentioned BP, for example, but certainly they are many of them, like Total, like Royal Dutch Shell. Specifically, we saw also Joe Biden, who has totally changed his energy policy compared to the Trump administration. So we were wondering what might be the impact on crude oil in the very, very long term.
Well, I would say for OPEC, it has got enough oil resources to pump for the next until 2050. But I think the major impact could be on the U.S. Currently, since the beginning of the year, we are seeing the production in the U.S. crude oil fixed at around 10.9 to 11 million barrels. Very much different from the Trump era when prices go high. Certainly, we see a major increase in the number of rigs and also a major increase in oil production in the U.S. But so far, I haven't seen that, in fact, in the U.S. And I believe this could be an impact from the Biden administration rather than the decisions from the shale oil operators. Yet, I also think that if the world is going to achieve these Paris Agreement targets, I would very much be worried about two things in here. Can the developing world be able to meet its energy targets away from fossil fuels, and what carbon price will be fair and socially equitable to developing countries? Certainly, also adding to that the policy decision that the developed world will have to take on in order to achieve that ambitious transitions. For example, by 2025 and 2030, there will be a ban on internal combustion engines. And this is a very sensitive decision to take because we need to ensure that we have enough plug-in vehicles, and the infrastructure for plug-in vehicles are already in place, and there are also enough electric vehicles, the sales is enough supply for the people to buy. So I say it is very ambitious, yet it is not impossible.
All right. Thank you as always. Youssef El-Shamari, CEO, CMarkits. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day ahead.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Alexander.